What can be done about unmet needs after trust is broken? This video covers that, as well as how porn can be more than a breach of trust.
Now, last time we discussed the concept of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, so that conversation will be continued in this video. Let's begin. The thing I find interesting when we start messing with the lowest two, the basic core needs to stay alive, food, shelter, air, that sort of thing, and the second level, safety, when those start getting messed with, that's when you start finding PTSD. If there's long stretches, if there's huge, breaches of safety, or if, somebody had a life-threatening near-death experience, that sort of thing, that can set up some PTSD. And the thing I find interesting is guys will camp like level 3.5 and above, where they're like, I'm not getting what I want when I want it. I'm not getting respect from you. You give me those things first. You give me whatever love, attention that I want, and then I will help you feel safe. So he's up here going, well, she's not giving me all of these things. And she's down here, twitching, going, I'm barely getting by, because I don't feel safe. That's the kind of relationship we typically see. Not all of them are like that, and not all guys say that. Some guys, can step outside of their needs and wants. And
I think they live it even if they don't say it in that like ugly way, where it's not so selfish overtly. I think it's sort of like accident. This is like one of the blind spots that we talk about, is they want to connect. They're just like, why won't you lighten up? Just come and have fun and be a person with me like we used to. Like, why are you doing this? And they don't realize how big of a role they play in the absence of safety and trust that their partner feels in the relationship. Mm-hmm. And right. So my work's reverse engineering that. It is, can you supply the requisite amount of safety and trust to your wife through a series of habit changes that then invite her to come join you on level 3, level 4 of the pyramid. It's a privilege to live up there.
Right.
And it's one that I comfortably lived in throughout most of my relationship until I started sleeping in the guest room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Getting back to what you were saying about your story, one of the things that, came from your Facebook group and comes up for us, you're talking about basically the death of 1,000 cuts, and they're little cuts, right? They're little things. It's the consistent disregard where, mine was so flagrant. Porn use, I know that there are some relationships that's fine. It's the lies. You lie to somebody 1,000 times about whether or not you did the dishes, and it's still going to destroy your relationship.
Yes, sir.
I was dishonest about what I was doing. Pornography was a part of it, and it still wouldn't have been okay with her if I had said, hey, I'm using porn tonight, and had been clear about it.
We got married under the guys that he didn't want it, that it wasn't a problem in his first marriage, so he thought marriage would get rid of it, that he was willing to talk about it, and that we could have decent conversations about it. And I thought, if he doesn't want it and marriage makes it go away, and that was foolish of me for not understanding how addiction worked, but if he's willing to be honest about it and he's willing to talk about it, then we can get through this. And if we can't, then it'll help me resolve some of my remaining fears. So that's kind of what we got married under, but I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, so, pornography can be hugely damaging to a marriage. Well, what if I have an affair? That's got to be more damaging. And the reality is they're pretty much the same. I've worked with clients that have lost their jobs. I've worked with clients that have gone to prison. I've worked with clients that have had affairs, been to massage parlors, been to prostitutes, and their wives are really not any more or less hurt than the wives whose it's just pornography.
I want to be a little bit more clear. And what we've seen is the wives of the husbands who have visited prostitutes are not more traumatized than the wives of the husbands who's, just used porn.
Right.
One thing I do want to say, because the first thing on your list was pornography use in marriage as a breach of trust. Like that was what your Facebook group had as a thing that they wanted.
Absolutely.
Covered. I do want to say, yes, absolutely. It can be a breach of trust, especially if there wasn't that agreement going into it. Husbands, you need to understand wives do see this as, okay, I'm no longer the leading lady in my own life. I'm no longer the leading lady in my own marriage. My husband would rather pursue other women versus pursuing online content on how to be a better husband. Yes, it breaks trust to the point where one of the top neuroscientists in the land, Dr. I think his name is Daniel Amen. It's either Daniel or Joseph. I always get him mixed up. I think it's Daniel. He took one look at the data that these two psychologists that were working with betrayed partners brought to him. He took one look at that data and said, that's PTSD. So, and then I've heard 4 counselors say what they see is anywhere between 70 and 98% of the women who come to them whose husbands are involved in pornography have clinical signs of PTSD. So not only is it a betrayal of trust, a breach of trust, it's one so devastating that it can cause, no joke, PTSD.
Yeah.
And that's what I help to heal in the wives that come to us. So.
And I do want to follow that with one quick comment. None of us are doctors. None of us are therapists. We are people that live through our own story. We help through our own story. There may be need for you to have true medical professional help.
True counseling help.
Yeah. And I also understand, we understand that for some people, doctors and therapists just don't speak to them the same way that we do. So
in fact, Matt, you said something about, it was, I think on our last call, you said, I have people coming to me saying, I don't want to visit a therapist. So we're for them.
Yeah.
Those people.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Next time, we will be discussing emotional affairs and defensiveness and what can be done instead. So we'll see you then.